Let's go ahead and do the quote of the night. The quote of the night is: "You never know when a moment and a few sincere words can have an impact on a life." And that is from Zig Ziglar. And the reason I wanted to pick this quote, or at least a quote about being grateful, being thankful, being appreciative, something in that vein, was because I have now hit 150 subscribers, which is crazy and good. And I'm trying not to let it like sway me. And what I mean by that is I have very particular goals at the moment for my content creation in general. And those specific goals are to show up, to be consistent, to learn and grow as in develop skill sets, do things that make me feel uncomfortable, participate in new ways, and like evolve those things, and not focus on subscriber count, watch time, the potential for monetization. Those things would be lovely. And I feel like if they're going to occur, they will need to occur in a organic way, because if I prioritize those things, I suspect that it will lead to burnout and potentially depression. I feel like I've talked about it a few times, but if I have not talked about it recently, or if you have not been with me at a moment where I did discuss those things, I have done creative pursuit type things for financial purposes before. I made jewelry is what I did, and I sold at craft and art fairs, and I had an Etsy shop for a while, and discovered that the stress of making it financially viable in conjunction with the creativity was not not good for me. We're not in a, wonderfully like, well, it's not unstable. It's not, we're not rolling in dough. We're not, like we live, we eat, we have a home, I have work, my kids are taken care of. My husband and I occasionally get to go out and do things, and it is better now than it has been. But at the time that I was doing those things, it was really important for me that if I was spending money on making stuff to sell, that I needed to have that stuff make money in order for it to be something I could sustain. And because the focus was on the financial aspect, it really hurt my creativity to the point where I stopped doing anything creative. I was like, I can't deal with all of the stress of whether or not it makes money being the motivating factor of, should I be producing more? Should I be doing more shows? Should I be doing more XYZ stuff? It was so stressful that I just cut out creativity things. Like, I didn't even color, I didn't do any of that stuff because I just got so depressed and so burnt out that I just cut it all off. And then for 2 years, I didn't do anything creative. And that was one of the worst periods of my life, just because I need a creative outlet, whatever that creative outlet may be. So I decided, to focus on other things, and I dropped all that stuff and realized I needed to add it back in, and have come to the conclusion that if creative pursuits end up producing money or, whatever in the future, that I have to let it evolve. I cannot focus on that first because I'm concerned about the toll it will take on my mental health. Other people may not have those same struggles, but I know I do. And so I have been really strict with my focus being on, did I learn to do a better thumbnail? Did I learn more about a graphics, like, editing program? Am I learning more about sound? Am I learning more about multi-streaming? Am I attempting to connect on Discord because Discord stresses me out. There are things that I can focus on that aren't necessarily, and does it then produce money too? It may evolve eventually, and that'd be great. But it's really tough too, because a lot of the advice out there for content creators and creative pursuits, just in general, arts, pursuits, there's a lot of pressure to be producing and for it to be a real job and for it to be real whatever somebody thinks that your creative pursuits should be doing. And so a lot of the advice you get and a lot of the metrics that people will want you to pay attention to are the numbers and the money and this side of things. And I'm fortunate enough that I don't have to do that. I don't have to pay attention. I'm not trying to pay my mortgage, on the creative pursuits I'm currently pursuing. But it's really tough sometimes when what you see, like if I log into YouTube and I log into the studio, the first thing I see is my subscriber count, my watch time, my reach, my, click-through rate, things that like all the metrics that show whether or not you're being successful or not. And I like numbers and I like looking at graphs and I like seeing all of that information, but I have to consciously make the choice of this is interesting and fun, not my value is in these numbers, because my value right now is tied to my goals, and my goals are more about self-improvement, showing up, learning new things, dealing with those struggles first, because if those struggles aren't managed before I'm focused on metrics, then I'm setting myself up for some serious burnout. So I try to take all of the advice with a grain of salt. I take all of the back end stuff of the YouTube and Twitch platforms with a grain of salt, as in, well, that's interesting and it's fun to see. But I was getting close to 150 subscribers and I was like, oh, on YouTube. And I was like, oh, I should probably say something, like, oh, I should probably say, oh, thank you. And I'm so happy that, people are hanging out with me, because I am grateful, and I am happy people are finding value with hanging out with me and subscribing and offering support in what ways that they can. I was like at 148 or 100. I don't know if I was at 149. I think it was at 148 subscribers. And I was like, oh, I should get ready to say a thank you. Like, I make a little to-do out of a nice round number, like 150. And then my subscriber count went down. And it went down to like 146, I think. I think I lost a couple of subscribers. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And it took a little bit of me going, am I going to let this bother me? Because it's not really my measure for value, or my measure for, like, am I succeeding at my goals? But it is still a number, and it is still changing. So I was like, oh. Now, I will say that YouTube does a lot of, like, managing stuff for bot accounts and for, like, fake accounts and stuff like that. So you see your numbers fluctuate, for those who don't know, and aren't necessarily, like, as privy to the back end side of things. So they're looking at like likes and dislikes and subscriber counts and stuff like that. And if they find things that are not valid accounts, they will, remove those numbers, unsubscribe them or remove the accounts or whatever. I don't know all of the nitty gritty of that. So there is expected fluctuation and expected, numbers to go down. And then there's also the potential for somebody subscribing and then unsubscribing. Like, that's totally legit. And people can do that at any old time. And there's no way for me to know. There's no way for me to know if it was like a YouTube automated thing or if it was a person saying, you know what, unsubscribe. And that's fine. But then my number went back up, and then it went back up again. And then this week it went from 149 to 152. Now, is it possible that some of those numbers are not real numbers? Is it possible that some of those subscribers may unsubscribe almost right away? Sure, it's entirely possible. And there's no real way for me to know. And that's okay. Part of the reason I'm bringing it up at all is just because it's been an interesting exercise to theoretically know that I shouldn't let things bother me, and then have things happen that it's like, is this going to bother me? Am I going to let this, affect me on some real level? Like, am I going to let it negatively impact me? And no, I'm not going to let it, because it's kind of expected. It's just different experiencing it. Like, you can theorize all day how you're going to react to numbers going up or down, or negative comments, or thumbs down, or whatever you might get in your, like, in a public facing creator kind of way. But it's entirely different to actually get to that point and go, how am I going to deal with that? Like, am I actually going to allow that to affect me in some, real negative way? And I'm not going to. And I wasn't sure if I should wait. Like, maybe I should give it a few days and make sure those numbers stick. But you know what? And this is why I wanted a quote about being grateful and gratitude and expressing thanks, is because even if my real number is not 152 right now, even if it's not, like, maybe there are 20 bot accounts right now that YouTube's going to clean up in the next month, I don't know, it doesn't change the fact that I'm grateful. Like, thank you. If you have subscribed to me and you are getting value about spending time with me, watching my content, hanging out in my live streams, doing whatever it is, or maybe you just, happy to click subscribe to support small creators, thanks. I appreciate it. Like, it's not my main focus, but it does, like, I can let the positivity in and keep the negativity or the potential for negativity at bay. Like, I can do that. I can allow the positivity to come in, because what I want is to spread positivity here. It's one of my main goals, is connecting with people and offering a space for people and just being here and doing what I can, because there's so much negative in the world that anything that we can do positively that might combat the negativity is of value. Every little drop, every little bit counts, because the more we spread around, the more likely we're spreading it to people that will also spread it around, and therefore make, I tell 2 friends and you tell 2 friends and everyone tells 2 friends, and then suddenly everyone's talking about how awesome everything is. Not really, but you know what I mean? Like, it radiates out, and it's an exponential kind of growth thing. So yeah, I just wanted to say thanks. Thanks for being here. I will continue to do my best to show up and be consistent and learn and grow and evolve and see where it takes me, see where it takes us, So anyway, I just was thinking about it because I had to really examine it this week and over the last few weeks, as the numbers were kind of going up a little bit and then down a little bit and then up a little bit. And I was like, how do I really feel about this? How do I really want to feel about this? And it's kind of fitting, considering we're doing all this emotional inside out content. It's like, I can make those choices, and I can be positive, and I can share that gratitude and positivity with anyone who drops in and spends some time here. So anyway, thanks for dropping in. If you want to hang out, I stream live on Twitch and YouTube Thursday evenings and middays on Sunday. I hope you have a lovely day, night, time, wherever you are, whenever you are. I'll see you next time.